AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL. Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Hammond for Brian Wilson today. We are pleased to be joined by Michael McDonald in studio, comedian, seen him on Mad TV. He's doing stand-up at the DC Improv all weekend long. You can check it out at DCimprov.com this weekend if you want to get tickets to see Michael McDonald. How are you? Thanks for coming in.
I'm wonderful, and thank you for having me.
Have you been watching the Olympics?
I think it's required by law.
That's right. Do you think there are some people who believe that you can't cheer for your country, because if you're cheering for your country, it's rude to other Olympics. You're not one of those guys, right? You can cheer for Americans, right?
I'm thinking, all right. So then, if we just extend that thought more, is it then? If you're really polite, should you then just cheer openly for the other side? And then whoever roots for the other team the hardest
wins, right?
Might win. It's ridiculous.
There should be a medal for that.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
For cheering the hardest.
Well, a medal that everybody wins, because that's fair.
Because that's what creates champions.
Right, yeah.
Well, quite frankly, I watch for beach volleyball. And is there anything wrong with that?
No. How's your marriage?
It's going very well, and that's the reason why, because we have that understanding.
Because she's cheering for the other team as well. Go girls.
Because she could look at a swimmer and say, "Hey, that guy's pretty nice," and I could look at the beach volleyball and say, "Hey, I'm enjoying that as well."
Honestly, I think you guys have a hotline in your future.
It's a therapy session with you, Michael.
I'm good at relationships because I have none, like all television doctors.
Yes, I know. What's a typical day like for you? I mean, do you just go around trying to look for stuff to be funny, or do you just enjoy life?
I think that the best comedy writer is God. So all you have to do is open your eyes and ears, because things happen all over the place. I was in actually, I flew here from Boston, and they were announcing like a gate change which I knew the gate change had happened, so I sat down to what I thought were the people that were going to be go flying with me. Right. And then they made an announcement: for those of you who are still here, your gate has been changed. You are no longer flying out of this gate. And you see this woman go, he's made that announcement every 30 seconds. And then every time he did it, she was going, oh, if you're staying here still, you're an idiot. And then he finally made the announcement a third time. She goes, wait, what? She got up and left. And it was because it was a specific number she hadn't heard right. But honestly, I don't know.
Tell me I'm always curious, how did you end up finding out that you like to be on stage? For most of the American public, it's the number one fear is to public speak.
Right.
But there are weirdos like us who don't have an issue with it. How did you come to that realization? I
have really funny parents, and so being around the dinner table was always kind of like, I don't know, that my parents made me laugh, so I wanted to, I think, make them laugh back and stuff. But my dad has a sense of humor that it's the kind of sense of humor where you don't know he said a joke until like 5 years later.
Right,
and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that was a
yeah.
joke. Like I pushed a kid at a drinking fountain one time when I was little and got in trouble. My dad was the disciplinarian, and he was yelling at me saying, you should never push anybody at a drinking fountain. When I was your age, I pushed a kid at a drinking fountain and I knocked out all of his front teeth, and his family couldn't afford to fix his teeth, so they had to move to West Virginia.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought that was real, and and that was when everyone's front teeth are falling out, and I'd tell my friends, like, I hope your parents can get your teeth fixed, you have to move to West Virginia. And then, of course, it dawned on me at some point. This is do we have West Virginians in your audience?
Yeah, we actually do.
All right, good. Well, that was a joke that my father said that I didn't say, and I can give you his email.
Well, I would say that my father's actually from West Virginia, and the joke I like to tell him is that the reason why we know that the toothbrush was invented in West Virginia is because in any other state it would have been called the teeth brush.
Bless their hearts. I was born in Alabama, so I've heard it all.
I know what bless your heart means, which is you're a little bit retarded.
Well, yeah, basically.
Right?
It's like it's an excuse for saying anything bad about anyone in the South. Bless their heart. It's a really blanket statement.
Yeah.
Very useful.
It is. The Southern woman, you never know. You have to really interpret the words. I pushed open a door for a woman and her children at a coffee shop, and she turned to me and she goes, well, aren't you sweet enough to kill a diabetic? And I was like, "What?
Wait,
Is that a dig?"
Is that good or bad?
That's pretty sweet. Right? All right.
Jiu-jitsu, verbal jiu-jitsu. there.
Yes, I like it that way.
We're talking with Michael McDonald, comedian, doing Mad TV. You produced like Cougar Town, Scrubs, which was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
I do love that
and
show.
I should say the same guy who created Scrubs created Cougar Town, which is kind of my connection there.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we're gonna moving to TBS on in March.
Okay, great. Well, are you allowed to talk about other shows then, since you're on other shows? I mean, is there a show out there that you think is just really funny? It's under the
Of course,
radar?
you can talk about.
Oh,
Well, the newsroom is unintentionally funny, which we
You don't like the
discussed in
newsroom, huh?
No, I said I like humor.
It's
even when
hilarious.
I honestly laughed out loud at many of the more serious moments, and there's nothing like unintentional comedy for me.
Yeah.
It is often the best.
It's funny is that people in the news business, because we're around newsrooms all the time, they all hate it. They think it's just terrible. But you know what? They all watch it too, because they all
course.
comment on it the next day.
Well,
after
because
it's on.
everybody in the news business is a complete egomaniac, for starters.
That's
Like
true.
they love themselves as much as Hollywood loves themselves.
Nothing is greater than the urge to live tweet
Yes.
TV
Yeah.
that everyone else can turn on their TV and watch.
And this is a
what we
Fox
do.
show, right? So what's with the voice on the Fox announcements? That dude, how did they come up with that? Sarah Palin says she thinks that Hillary Clinton would have made a better president than Barack Obama. What do you think? Tune in. That's Fox. Like, there's this really weird, it's the voice of that guy, the kid in your high school that was just trying to start fights. It's so weird.
and
Only on O'Reilly, or is it? Like it's.
I hear my name
That's
every
pretty
week.
good. Mary Catherine's on a ride.
Mary Catherine Ham thinks that Bill O'Reilly might have her as guest. What do you think? Tune in to find out.
That is exactly
It's
correct.
So weird.
And
And
that-
you've been on his show, right?
I've been on his show and I've heard my name said pretty much just like that.
It's really bizarre. I did him on Mad TV.
Yes.
I played him,
Yeah.
and so oddly enough. He was interested in having me on his show
Oh.
to talk about. One of his questions was, "What is it about me that's so interesting that you would do me?" And I was like, "Well, Bill,
I can't
it
imagine.
sounds like a night. Somehow this seems like a compliment for you." But he very nice guy,
Yeah.
but interesting interview.
What I love about that, and I told Mary Catherine, when he does the talking points memo, and he calls it, as talking points has said many times before, instead of I have
Well,
said
that's
before,
what
it's
in
as
my interview with
talking
him.
points have
That's what
said.
he goes. Well, in talking points, I go. You know, the talking points is you, Bill.
Yes, that's right.
You are talking points.
It's
should
amazing.
Should I call you TP?
I think you'd appreciate
I
that.
should call
yeah,
TP.
he's pretty good. You know what though? He's like the Irish. I grew up with Irish New York family, and so I completely get his whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure to have you in.
Oh wow! I just
I
said
know.
Bill Riley, and I'm done, right?
You're done.
Am I
Anytime
going to be escorted from the building?
You trash Fox or you trash Sarah Palin, you're just automatically done. No, I'm kidding.
Mike McDonald's radio interview is done. Find out why later on Fox.
Michael McDonald will be at the DC Improv all weekend long. You want to get tickets, dcimprov.com. It was great having you in.
Thank you for having
Thanks,
me.
I'm going to have him announce me on my future projects.
Yeah, you should.